Fairphone 2 review. Is this smartphone a match for its own angelic ethics? Its chip will be created in Cambridge, its screen will be switched on in Seoul, its marketing will be made up in Manhattan. But first, the materials that make it up, tantalum, tungsten, cobalt, gold and around 40 others will need to be dug from the ground. It will need to be assembled in a factory. This is the part of the store where a huge elephant wanders into the room. Complex devices need minerals from many countries, and at the far end of those long supply chains are people who get treated like dirt. The Fairphone 2 wants to do something about this last bit, while also offering you a great smartphone. We tested to see whether it could live up to laudable ideals. So what's in a smartphone? UNICEF estimates that over 40,000 children work in cobalt mines across the southern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And the most recent report by Amnesty International found that 16 major multinational electronics brands buy battery components from suppliers who source their cobalt, used in the batteries of your phone, tablet, laptop and camera, from areas in which child labor is rife. Meanwhile, a 2015 investigation standing up in factories where you can be fined 5 days' wages for crossing your legs. This isn't a lecture intended to depress you or make you hate your phone. Because, while multinational companies aren't known for their compassion, people, in general, are. Moral alternatives emerge and become mainstream. Design-wise, there's no getting around the fact that the Fairphone 2 is chunky. In a market dominated by slender pieces of metal, the Fairphone 2 is resolutely plastic. With its heavy-duty case on, it's 11 mm thick, a little thinner than budget phones like the Moto G, but hefty next to an iPhone 6s or a OnePlus X. The hard plastic case is hardened plastic. It is durable, though, with that sturdy rear and a Gorilla Glass 3 screen. At the launch event I saw one of Fairphone's representatives drop it from ear height. A Dutch person's ear height, a solid 6 feet, onto a tiled floor a couple of times, an ordeal it survived completely unscathed. The Fairphone 2 also has a 5-inch 1080p display giving it a pixel density, or crispitude, as we've decided to rebrand it, of 446 pixels per inch. Colors are bright without being too saturated. It doesn't have the wide range and more natural color you'll find in some OLED panels, but it's a very respectable screen. A modular phone is essentially a phone that's built from completely replaceable parts. This means that if you do manage to crack the screen or break another component, you can order parts from Fairphone's website and fix it yourself. Contrast that with the iPhone 6s, which auto-annihilates itself, albeit, arguably, for sound security reasons, if opened by any non-approved person, and you can immediately see the benefit. The Fairphone 2's clear case shows all the parts, which are easy to take out and switch around. I've actually done this with a screwdriver, removing the screen and the camera module and putting them back, and again, it survived my tinkering. Sound performance. If you are not all that interested in tinkering with your smartphone, then you needn't worry. The Fairphone 2's componentry is solid. A Snapdragon 801 chip plus 2 GB RAM, 32 GB storage, 2 SIM slots and a microSD slot supporting SDXC, up to 200 GB of extra storage, using currently available microSD cards. "18 months ago these would have been top-spec components, and accordingly Android 5.1 Lollipop runs very smoothly. It doesn't get too warm while gaming. That said, that is an older incarnation of Android you'll be running instead of 6.0 Marshmallow. It still contains a few pleasant surprises though, including some nicely designed gesture controls. Swipe in from the right and you access a handy, customizable drawer of your most used apps, and a function that automatically moves little-used software into an idle apps area, quietly disabling them for more efficient use of power. Overall, the Fairphone 2 is well equipped for everyday use, as well as being extraordinary in its own right. Unless you are someone who likes to play a lot of YouTube out loud on the bus, then you'll be dismayed to hear that the rear speaker is both pretty terrible, and in the wrong place, on the back, facing out. This probably won't make much difference unless you're a keen mobile gamer with no headphones. To be clear, the Fairphone 2 isn't morally perfect, but it does represent a way of introducing changes in areas from mining to manufacturing. While other companies exhort their mission to not be evil and to do the right thing trademark sign, Fairphone puts its phone where its mouth is. In doing so, it makes a very important statement about all the companies that claim that rights abuses and pollution are out of their hands.